Hello and welcome to the Plason webinar featuring Dr. Beatriz Molina. I'm your organizer, Jacqueline Day, and I'll be covering a few housekeeping items. You are currently in a listen-only mode for this webinar as it is being recorded. We do ask that you use the question and answer panel to enter your question, and if there is time at the end of the webinar, we will open up the phone lines for live questions. So let's get started. Your first presenter is Kelly Tobin. She is a director with Artemis Distribution in the UK. Welcome, Kelly. I will hand it over to you.
Thanks very much, Jacqueline. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending where in the world you are joining us from today for our first global Plason expert session. It's with great pleasure that I get to introduce our guest today that is not only an icon but an inspiration in aesthetic medicine, not only for her research and development but for the training that she has done in products like botulinum toxins, dermal fillers, and more recently our Plason device. Now, before I pass over to Beatrice, I would like to just discuss the agenda today and the overview. So Dr. Beatriz Molina will talk about her 15 years in aesthetic business. Then we will do some short questions and answers where we will talk about the tools for business success and also the ideal Plason treatment plan. Then we will get on to the exciting part where we'll look at some real results where Beatrice will share with us some of her before and after pictures from her patients. And then we will do a short Q&A at the end. So without further ado, please can I introduce Dr. Beatriz Molina. Hi, Beatrice.
Hi, welcome to everyone. This is so lovely, isn't it? It's been a little while, Kelly.
Amazing. So Beatrice, would you just like to talk us through your history, just a brief overview of where you started out in 2005 and how you've got to where we are now?
Just a quick recap. Obviously, I became a doctor a few years before 2005. And then I started the surgical rotation in a hospital in Bristol because originally I wanted to become a plastic surgeon. And I spent actually 5 years doing a plastic surgery rotation and decided at some point that actually that's not what I wanted to do. So funny enough, I went into general practice. And that was great because from being a surgeon where you don't listen to your patients, you just cut, sew, stitch, going to general practice, it made me sit down and actually listen to my patients' concerns. And along the journey there, where I spent about another 10 years, so I'm not even telling you how old I am now, suddenly discovered aesthetic medicine. And that was just like the light in the tunnel. I went, wow, this is amazing. I can get to listen to my patients, use my surgical skills, and actually create amazing results. And that's how I founded Medicas in 2005. So I have been already over 15 years in aesthetic medicine. And of course, my main interest is injectables. As a doctor, that's what my main interest is. But I really believe in skin. We need to be sure that when we treat our patients, it has to be a very holistic approach. We need to give them all the other treatments to combine what we're doing with injectables to really create that perfect result. And over the years, it's been really, really difficult to get technologies we can actually achieve really nice results without huge downtime. And I think we'll see that later, where Plason is so amazing. And yes, obviously, I've been long enough there, blah, blah, blah. Not going to say again, but we discovered plasma shower technology about 6 or 7 years ago. And then Plason device came in, which was amazing. And it's probably, oh my God, I won it at Incas. I don't know, Kelly, if you remember. We had like a little lottery thing and someone picked the ticket for me. And I was, yes, I got it, the new device, so exciting. So what you're doing is combining plasma technology with ultrasound. So this is just amazing because what you do is that penetration. We'll go more a little bit in detail on that, of the intradermal delivery for substance in the skin, getting amazing results in very little time. Fantastic. So obviously, I think that's probably my journey. And I got currently a couple of clinics. I also work in London a little bit, a lot of consultancy, traveling. Like today I'm in a hotel room, so excuse the background. It's not really my normal location, but I am in Sweden. But yeah, it's been an amazing discovery for the clinic and my staff use it every single day.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that, Beatrice. And let's just also give credit to the amazing awards that you've won over the years as well. Obviously, awards like the Best Aesthetic Practitioner of the Year, the Best Clinic, Best Customer Service. The list goes on, Beatrice. I could be here, well, for the rest of the duration for the accolades. So amazing work. Thanks very much. Next slide, please, Jacqueline. Perfect. So I just have a few questions for you today, Beatrice. So the first stage is to look at the tools for success. So we'd like to look at what is the greatest significant risk you have taken in your aesthetic practice and why?
I really think the bigger risk you always take is buying a machine. You have to do a lot of research and you have to see, okay, I'm going to pay so many £1,000 of euros or dollars, depending where you are, for this machine. Is it going to deliver the results? Are people going to book enough? Because you got that rental coming every month. And I think machinery has always been the bigger risk. But you do it because you believe you can complement what you're already doing with your hands and your skills and injectables, because you really want to achieve that perfect all-round treatment. So it's worth, but I always say, please research your equipment and see that's going to deliver what it does, and it's worth to invest that extra little bit of money, and then train your staff properly to use it so you get the results.
Perfect, thank you. So you've built a very successful business over the years, when again, not mention how many years, but what are your tips for building a great team? Because obviously a great practitioner, but a great team behind it all is also part of the success program.
I think you need to start from the bottom of your own business. I mean, I do the hoovering sometimes, clean the toilets, you know, tidy up the kitchen, whatever it takes. You have to be involved with your team from day one, from the very basics. And if you love what you do, you can inspire them to do better. So I'm a little bit of, probably a lot of doctors out there, a little bit OCD. I like to be everything perfect, in control of everything. But sometimes you also have to learn to trust your staff to do the work and listen to how they handle things. And it's just really staff is the main key. Good products, good machines, and be passionate. Love your job. If you love it, your patients will believe that what you're telling them is true, because you love about it and you believe in it.
Thank you. And how many members of staff do you have, Beatrice, at your practice now?
We actually have shrunk our practice. We used to have 2 big locations with a lot of staff, and from COVID we took a step down. It's been a financial, but also an age decision. I think I got a little bit older now, and I decided, and I enjoy a lot of my traveling, my teaching, and 2 full clinics, and that was pretty much too much. So I have concentrated the business now, and we got 5 staff only. So we got 1 clinic we run, and then I go and support another clinic with another big team. And that's really a good balance, because I'm surrounded by a lot of really good people. So just dermatologists, plastic surgeons, very good nurses, and very good aestheticians, with also they help me to deliver the treatment. So that gives you the facility to coordinate a big team. You can develop very good protocols, but you got the team behind you to help you to succeed, because with 2 hands it's a little bit difficult to achieve everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so what are some of the methods you would recommend in finding success using the Plason device?
Firstly, try on yourself. It's amazing. So when you try, you believe in it. Once you believe in it, you can tell the patients, ooh, you need to try these. And of course, because you know it's true, it's easy. You don't have to even to sell it. Honestly, the way we started, to be truthful, was I do obviously a lot of botulinum toxin, and particularly the periocular area. We all know how tricky it is, particularly under the eye area when we get these little fine wrinkles and crepey skin. And toxin sometimes is very limited to what we can do. Fillers are tricky. Radiofrequency devices and ultrasound can also be a little bit tricky to use. So we used to offer to start with a little complementary, because it takes 6 minutes, 3 minutes per eye, underneath of the eye, a Plason with one of the girls after I finished. Then they will do their moisturizers, they put all the little serums. Patients loved it that much. And then they went, oh, can I do my full face with this? Oh, can I add my neck? Can I do my chest? Oh, what about hands? So slowly just became really popular. And now it's a very successful treatment on its own right.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, next slide, please, Jacqueline. Great. So now we're going to focus more on the Plason treatment. So how many treatments are you performing using the Plason device, yourself and your team? I know it's kind of lots of different people have access to the device.
Okay, this is where I'm going to tell you then with Plason you can do not just beautification or improvement of skin quality. Okay, for the ones that don't know how it works, so with plasma technology. So plasma is an energy which, when you deliver it to the skin, the way in contact with the skin, is going to open sort of the exchange of the cells in and out. So that means you can allow transdermally a delivery of non-cross-link products like hyaluronic acid, but also some of the other vitamins or supplementation, so you can improve skin tone, tightening, pigmentation. So you got really endless age of cocktails you can use for this. What most people don't realize, that also you can allow transdermal delivery or hyaluronidase. So if you get Tyndall effect, or if you get slight excess of filler in the eye area specifically, you can use this treatment and then transdermally deliver the hyalase, no injecting, to resolve the issue. So when you say how many treatments am I performing, I'm only doing the ones to do with complications from dermal fillers. When it comes to the improvement of fine wrinkles, pigmentation, skin tightening, my staff they do those treatments. I'm lucky that I don't have many complications, so it's like I do it maybe every day, but we do see at least 2 or 3 complications from injecting people around, because as we know in the UK, it's not so well regulated. So we do have some rogue injectors up there which are using, I don't know, not very well qualified. So we have sometimes referrals for sorting out, and I get involved directly with all of those. But the girls will be busy. The machine, honestly, is got a pedestal. It's just like, it's our biggest star in the clinic, because you use it a lot in combination with another technologies I will see later.
Amazing. That's really interesting. And with the breakdown of the dermal filler, how many treatments would you be looking to do for patients? Because obviously, when they're injecting, it can be quite a difficult thing to treat. So how many treatments would you be doing in total?
1.
Wow, that's amazing.
Majority of the time it's just the ones. If you know what filler has been injected and you know the rheology of the product and they're cross-linking, then you can target the hyalase. So my dilution of hyalase will be a lot more concentrated. So it's normally in 1 ml. So 1500 units in 1 ml, because then you apply a 0.1 to 0.2 ml with the finger, you massage, and it just disappears in front of your eyes. It's very rarely, sometimes with a specific brands, and I don't want to particularly say that they're bad or worse, it's just because the cross-linking is a little bit more tight, then it may take a second treatment, but that's really unusual. And sometimes for lumps and bumps on lips, for superficial ones, also works really, really, really well. So that's, honestly, it's a great piece of tool, even if you didn't use, because you say, well, I don't have a team, do I really need it? If you're a practitioner who is doing dermal fillers, you need it. This is like an amazing thing to sort you out without having to inject and sort out the very minor complications of dermal fillers, and it's amazing.
Perfect. And would it be the same sort of time frames to get this done as you mentioned before? So the 3 minutes on the eye area, if you're using
sometimes if I haven't quite got it after 3 minutes, so we put a 0.1 dilution, then I do another 2 to 3 minutes again, and then I put another 0.1, 0.2 again. So maximum will be about 6 minutes per eye. And you honestly resolve Tyndall effect. It's just incredible. It's just like a wow. And of course, when it comes to the staff things, which obviously are very good fun, but I don't have so much time to do. If you use 3 minutes per eye, and then you use, we use a lot a product which is like a stem cell technology, followed by non-cross-link hyaluronic acid for the hydration. You get a plumping of the wrinkles under the eye. So people live after your toxin treatment with a little treatment on top of that, feeling amazing. If you go a night out and you go a big event, and like me, you've been traveling, you're haggard, you haven't done your makeup properly, a half an hour treatment on your face, and your face looks amazing. It plumps all the wrinkles, you look really good. So it's a very good solution for both ways, for a beautification and improvement. But then let's think of what it does on the background. It's stimulating collagen, and we know that after 4 weeks, the improvement on wrinkles is 20%. And don't forget that it works with acne. So if you got active acne and an infection, the touch of the plasma on the skin, like on long pulses, it kills bacteria, which means if you get an outbreak of acne very quickly, you can treat it. It will settle very fast, so you don't get the acne scarring. So this is like an emergency treatment for our young patients when they get acne breaks, and even they're not so younger patients, they get rosacea and, you know, like it really irritates the skin. And another thing which is not proven fully yet, but we know it works, is on eczema and a lot of dermatitis problems. So if you've got an irritated skin and you apply plasma shower with a non-cross-linked hyaluronic acid, the recovery is amazing. And I wish there is more trials on that, because it really is the future. It's really good.
Is that something you've been looking into yourself? Have you been doing your own sort of testing on this?
We have, because we originally, you know, it's just sometimes you get a patient who comes for something totally different. And this girl specifically last summer came out with she's been biking. So she had a leather jacket, very fitted. She took the jacket off and she had really, really nasty psoriasis on her arms. And it was all really like nearly bleeding when it's really sore. And she says, oh my God, the creams don't really work. It's awful. And then I get sweaty and it gets worse. We did a plasma shower. We spent 10 minutes per, it's like a hand. So it's about 10 minutes for a hand and a hand on the flexure of the elbows. And we used just plain HA and a little bit of this stem cells technology, which is for recovery. And she called me the day after and she said, I cannot believe it, it's gone. But before she left the clinic, she said actually the pain is gone, which was good, but it's still red. The following morning, it's settled, it wasn't angry. I got some photos on there, I just haven't shared them today, but I do have them. So because it's not enough evidence, but honestly, it works, it's so good.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Well, I think we've kind of covered which treatments are the most popular for you in terms of it being the eye area. So where would you say is the next sort of area that people tend to want to focus? Would it be full face, or you mentioned also hands and neck? How are you getting on with those treatments?
So face, neck, and chest is really good for, of course, hands as well, but I think it's mainly on the facial because the skin is very thin. So it needs hydration, it needs like some collagen production, and people want a natural looking results. We do combine it awful lot with radio frequency technology. So we do the RF and then we use the plasma shower. Also, a little trick as well. If you get one bruise one day when your needle was not quite in the right place and you bruise someone, if you do plasma technology on top of the bruise, it goes so much faster because it seems to reabsorb quicker. So it's like a healing device. Another thing I haven't mentioned yet, I had a few years ago a complication with a nose. I was injecting a post-rhinoplasty patient with a dermal filler, and I have changes on the skin, and she was very tender because it was a compression, so it took 48 hours to develop. So the patient was fine for 48 hours and suddenly woke up one morning and says, oh my God, you told me to look for this, and this is just happened when I woke up this morning. So come immediately, come immediately. So she came in. At that point, of course, the tenderness was very extreme. Imagine having to inject hyaluronidase on a nose who is so painful. And she's like, don't touch me. So I went, okay, I'm going to try with this plasma. I'm going to have to try because I'll have nothing to lose. I get 10 minutes. And the beauty is, and some people have seen me inject it, they present this at Incas because it was a really good case, is the fact that after 10 minutes of plasma shower and hyalase transdermally, the pressure went, she felt comfortable, and she went home. And then we repeated the day after another session. And then by then, it was totally clear. The fact that it's like we have no rupture of skin, no any complications, and the patient was totally recovered in 48 hours. It was all good. And that was such a relief because it was my very, very ever first complication, and I was very scared. So I wanted to cry. So I think it was my saver. It saved me really. And the patient is still my patient these days. I still have her nose treatments every 15 months or so because it's only a tiny little bit on the side because it's post-rhinoplasty. Yeah, so it really saved me. So it was really good.
Amazing. It's great that you had that alternative there ready at hand to help with that.
For complications, you have to have it in the clinic. It's a must.
Amazing, amazing. So we've looked at some that you pair the Plason with other treatments. So you talked a little bit about RF and you talked a bit about ultrasound. What would be the combination and how would you sort of plan your treatment plan around that? You know, which product would you start with?
I tend to like to do the more aggressive treatments first. So if you do very strong chemical peelings or lasers or anything like that, you do that first. And then it's very nice to then use the plasma because it's very relaxing. So if you haven't tried it, guys, you can go to sleep. It's really, really relaxing to have it done. So after you attack their skin and you batter them a little bit with whatever therapy you're doing, then you relax them for about 20 minutes with plasma shower after. You put lovely serums on their face and then they leave thinking, oh, that's really good. It feels amazing. And of course, then accelerates the recovery time, as we said before, because of the healing properties of the technology. It will stimulate, of course, some collagen, and it's allowing you to deliver whatever serums is required for the technology you were using. So sometimes could be hydration, but could be pigmentation. I mean, it could be, you know, it's honestly endless.
Amazing. Perfect. Thanks very much. Can we have the next slide, please, Jacqueline? Perfect. So Beatrice, just as we move into this session, if you could just talk us through, we've looked at so many of your before and after pictures, and it was really hard to pick out the ones to include because there are so many fantastic examples. So we've picked out a few for you. If you could just talk us through a little bit about these patients, please.
So this beautiful patient has been one of mine for many, many years. I mean, I think I know her for about 15 or 16 years at least. And actually I knew her husband because we're colleagues before in hospital, so it was very funny. And she's the one who will take very good care of herself. So she does a little bit of toxin, a little bit of fillers. I mean, she looks natural. But with aging, she started feeling that her skin was a little bit more crepey. So we did some peelings. And she was getting married for a second time. We decided, you know what, let's get you ready for the wedding with something which you can, no bruises, nothing, just to give you. And we did, and this was just a one session, full face of plasma. And you can even see from that, the brightness of the skin is very immediate. So that's what I was saying, this is a great treatment for a big event, like weddings, parties, whatever, where you just want to look good. And yeah, I mean, just after one treatment, she came back and then she said, oh my God, it's already so much better. So we did a session. We tend to block them in 3 to 5 treatments, depending on the requirements of the patient. So in this case, we had only time for about 3 sessions. We usually do 2 weeks apart. You could do it weekly, of course you can. You could do monthly, of course you can. And a lot of the RF combinations is 1 a month or 6 weeks even, because people have less money. So you do 1 treatment and 4 or 6 weeks another second doses. This was a wedding, so we wanted to do a 3-quick session just to improve everything without attacking the skin too much, because she wanted to look amazing on her wedding day. So yeah, so she's lovely and she's loving it and she still uses it regularly.
Brilliant, thank you. No, the results are lovely. Next slide, please, Jacqueline. Thank you.
No, one back. That one. This, I swear, this is immediately after, and this was my very ever first patient full face approach. And I did this one because it was the first time we were playing with the machine. So she didn't pay for the treatment. We just said, look, I want to try on you. And again, she's one of my regulars. She likes to have little things, but she likes all very ultra natural. She doesn't like too much toxin, too many fillers, so she wants to just look well. And I said, oh, let me try this on you. And this is immediately after treatment. And we use the 2 products I was mentioning earlier. So it's like obviously like a technology to improve repair of the tissue, plus a plain non-cross-link hyaluronic acid, nothing else. Yeah, amazing. This whole treatment in a face will take, as I said earlier, 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the face. We divide the areas in sort of sections. So forehead, I like to do the cheekbone with the eye, and then the other one, and then the lower face, and then sometimes the middle section. So it depends really on the wrinkles, but we can all agree that it's amazing result. And yeah, really, really good.
It's a fantastic result. Just looking at all the areas that have been improved, the under eye area, the nasolabial folds, and just the condition of the skin in general. So no, fantastic.
And it's when then you do it regularly, like she comes now probably, because she's done it, this is quite a few years ago, but if you do every 6 or 8 weeks, like a facial, 6 weeks is probably perfect. I mean, 1 a month would be amazing, but not many people can afford it. So maybe 6 to 8 weeks, just get great results. And that's why I would suggest if you start from scratch, the under eye is when you get the maximum wow factor, because you immediately do one eye, you show them with the mirror and they can see. And then they go, oh, I love this. Then they believe it. They don't need to see the rest. Because obviously we agree that forehead lines are a bit deeper, so it's very difficult to reduce them fully. I mean, you're going to improve the skin quality. Upper lip wrinkles, they're fine, you see an improvement, but they're very deep. It's going to take more than just this. You have to do some resurfacing or whatever. So really, is to start under the eye and work from there, because then once they know they works, then just go for everything.
Perfect. That's brilliant. Next slide, please, Jacqueline.
So this is 2 different patients, and both combination of radiofrequency with plasma. Well, normally this is obviously straight after one, but as I said earlier, we do 3 sessions, and normally 4 to 6 weeks apart, and you get a very good longevity on the treatment. It's great to combine it with, as I said earlier, with toxin. And of course, when the skin is in a better condition, if they need a little bit of filler, then I will do that after. So I convince them to first prepare the skin, because if you got very crepey, thin skin on the eyelid, it's very hard to use fillers because they visualize and, you know, you just don't quite get it right. When if you got a really good firm skin, then it's really easy to put a tiny bit of filler, a little bit of toxin, and then you get really amazing results.
Perfect. And are you finding that you get the results on all ages of patients? Does it matter specifically the age group?
I think actually the older patients get a bigger wow factor. If I do this on my daughter who is 20, I mean, she's gorgeous, she's plump skin. What are you going to see? Not much, is it? Obviously, she had the night out and she's been drinking heavily, probably yes, because it would be amazing. I would say 30 plus, because you start noticing the little first signs of aging under the eye area. Obviously, you get bigger results on older patients. And why? Because the skin is so crepey and thin, and they're menopausal. And then suddenly, what else can you do? So you're very limited on what you do. And actually introducing them to something so gentle. And that sort of age group is a little bit more conservative and more worried because they don't want to look different. They don't want to notice they have a treatment. I mean, look at me. I never say my age anymore because, of course, I'm so young. But, you know, you don't want people to go, oh, my God, what have you done? You look terrible. You know what I mean? Like, it's noticeable. You want people to go, oh, you look well. Have you had a holiday? Do you have a weekend off? So it's sort of that more feel. So I find actually the older patients get amazing results. And I mean, we have patients in 60 and 70s having it done. And it's honestly not a problem because you get that plumping of the skin.
Brilliant, thank you. And is it something you advertise for your patients that are going through the menopause or pre-menopause, or is this a treatment that you would recommend for them?
I tend to always want to do a full consultation. I spend a long time with the patients when they come through, and I get one of my staff to sit with me in the consultation. So we do it together because we believe that it's not just the injectable bits, it's all the skincare. We do a full skin analysis. We put them obviously under the cameras. We analyze the sun damage, skin type. We look at even diet. We look at diets, we look at what vitamins or supplementation they're taking, what skincare they're using, what the habits are. We know now these days a lot of the 40 plus, they like running a lot, exercising a lot, so they look amazing in the bodies, but then the face goes bloom. So, you know, all of those things are very important when we put a plan for them. And Plasma Shower is always one of the products or the treatments we stick in as part of the whole thing, because it's not expensive to perform. And it's not expensive to do at all. It's very cheap. So that means you just need someone with a little bit of time. And then the skincare sells very easily after that. And the chemical peelings and the ultrasound and the rest of the therapies, because suddenly they see some results and they want to move on to the other therapies. So it's really a good treatment plan. And I try to keep bringing them minimum 3 or 4 times a year for it.
Perfect. So it's all about the combination treatment that we keep talking about. To get no one size fits all, unfortunately, Beatrice.
I know. It would be magic, will it? But it's a really good thing to have.
Soon. Perfect. Do we have any more before and after, Jacqueline? Next slide, please. Right.
I believe that's it. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Dr. Beatrice. That's great information that you've shared with us. And I love the before and after photos and what you've done to help these patients. I do have a couple of questions for you that have already come in, if you don't mind me firing away at the first one here. It's actually regarding Hydrafacial. Hydrafacial is very popular. How would I position Plason to Hydrafacial clients? And would it be a great add-on would Plason be a great add-on to Hydrafacial appointment, or would you recommend it as an alternative?
No, actually, it's very different because with Hydrafacial, you got the different steps, and what you're trying to do is sort of like an aqua peeling. So you're taking off dead cells because you got the little sucking devices, and then you're obviously trying to introduce some products in the skin. What you're not getting with the Hydrafacial is the collagen stimulation. You cannot treat patients with acne with it, definitely no complications, that's for sure. And the transdermal delivery is so much higher with Plason. So if you got someone who is extremely dehydrated, but also got a lot of blackheads or very, very leathery skin or very rough skin, do a Hydrafacial, take all the rubbish out, get them fresh, clean look, then do a Plason. So you are then hydrating the skin and get it back to recover, because sometimes even Hydrafacial can be quite harsh on some individuals that are not used to use active ingredients. So I think the combination of two will be amazing, and those patients will be very loyal to you because it's like a facial, but they look great for a party, and the skin looks amazing, and it's not invasive and not downtime. So I think it's a win-win. So it's definitely a complementary. You had to choose, Plason is better. But you know, with a mini peel and a Plason. But of course, as I said, Hydrafacial is a good machine, so I like it.
Wonderful, thank you. And just a quick reminder, you can ask your questions through the question and answer panel, or you can also raise your hand and I will open up the phone line for you to ask your question. We do have one more question. Oh, I like this one. What is your secret to keeping your business consistent with Plason?
To be honest, as I said earlier, the secret is you need to believe in whatever tool you're using for your patients. If you believe in your equipment or your whatever piece of treatment you're doing, it's not a problem because you'll be passionate about it. When you tell a patient, it's credible. I think what you can never do is be a salesman. You cannot just be behind your desk and go, I'm going to sell you this treatment, but actually I have never tried it. I don't really know how much it works. I'm not sure if I really like it. It will never happen. So the secret is believe it. Try yourself. Get your staff excited about it. If you girls believe, well, I say girls, I'm sorry, that's really terrible word to use, but my girls, I'm really my girls because they've been with me 12 and 15 years, so they're like my children, and that's why I call them my girls. But my staff are really loyal. They've been with me for a long time. They've been trained from day one, and they have the same ethos. They want patients to feel happy. Everyone knows them by name. When they answer the phone, everyone knows them. And if they recommend a treatment, they will go for it because they believe it's going to work. So that's honestly the best thing you can do.
Wonderful, thank you. Let's see here. Opening up. Any other questions for anyone?
I was going to say, if you're good at social media, do one of those little live things when you do one eye and then show it with the camera. That'd be so amazing. And if you've got good followers, that would be a really good way to promote it in your clinic.
Have you ever, Beatrice, have you ever done the little tip that Nick used to show in his training sessions, where you pop, you do the plasma shower, then you pop some serum onto one side and then serum onto the other, and see the absorption rate? That's always a wow factor. That always gets people get excited.
And we do that also in training because people don't believe it. So we just do the 2 to 3 minutes in one area, and then you put the serum and you put the other one in the side. One is running down, the other one is absorbing and soaking in. And this is what I mean. That transdermal delivery is so special. It really has opened so many different doors. Because honestly, I know we're talking about wrinkles here, but seriously, when it comes to Tyndall effect and all of that, sometimes people have lived with these eye bags for months because the practitioner says, oh, you have to wait, it will go away. And then 2 or 3 years later, these poor patients come to the clinic and say, oh, I had this for ages, it's not going away, what can I do? And then you do a magic treatment like that, and they go, oh my gosh, why didn't I have this done before? And it's just one of those little secrets, and it's a little hidden gem. And unfortunately, not many people are aware of how good this is. We're hoping the publication will be soon. We now collected enough data over the last 4 or 5 years. So we got, honestly, at least 80 or 100 patients now treated. And we've done a comparison of injected hyalase with plasma delivery hyalase for Tyndall effect. And honestly, it's so much better. You got no swelling. There's 0 side effects on the transdermal delivery. And obviously, from even a single, no bruising, no downtime, but also the swelling. A lot of people with injected hyalase, they get a little bit of a reaction and a bit of swelling, and you don't get that with Plason. So it's so many advantages. It's not just the beauty bit, it's also as a medical device to have in your clinic. And we got now 3, and 1 sits in my room at all times.
Is that just for you to use it, Beatrice?
Whenever I need it.
It seems like a game changer for treatments, obviously, not just in the beauty world, but like you mentioned, for breaking down hyaluronic acid, for working with complications. It is an absolute game changer. I really believe that this is the way forward. Like you said, I think every aesthetic practice should have one, definitely. And we heard it from Beatrice. Beatrice said everyone should have one.
I tell you what, if anyone wants one of those gun machines for mesotherapy, mine is sitting in the cupboard. I paid a fortune for it quite a few years ago. And when I got this machine, I have never done mesotherapy since, because it's totally changed the game. Usually use my mesogun, for mesotherapy. Now, plasma shower. And I don't even have to do it. The girls do it with the same results. So, but yeah, if anyone wants the mesogun, I got one. Contact me later.
One, that really big one from years ago. Actually, that was going to be my next question, actually, Beatrice. I was actually going to ask you, if you had to pick between doing mesotherapy or doing the plasma, which one would be your preferred go-to? And obviously you just answered that.
Of course, I already said it. My mesogun is dusting in a cupboard. Honestly, I have not touched it in at least 4 or 5 years. I think I've forgotten how to connect the needle now.
That's if you can get the connectors anymore. But no, I think
probably not anymore.
Perfect. Sorry, Jacqueline, I've hijacked the question section. Do we have any other questions?
Not at this time. Again, if you'd like to ask a question, feel free to do so. You can raise your hand. I can open up the phone line, or you can submit it during the actual question and answer panel.
Perfect. Well, I've got a couple more if I can carry on, Beatrice.
Sure.
Perfect. Just looking at the combination with doing dermal fillers and doing toxins. So for a patient that you had come through the door that would you think actually they've come through for Botox, they've come through for fillers, how would you sell the Plason? What sort of, I know you're not a salesperson, but how would you use, how would you get into that conversation?
So obviously you do a thorough assessment of the skin quality. And to be truthful, majority of people coming for either toxins or dermal fillers are going to be a little bit older, because normally the younger patients, not so much. I mean, okay, maybe lips or something very specific, but they're not really looking for a full face approach. And as you know, the area which probably suffers the most and very early aging is the under eye area. And as I said earlier, that's the one I always target first. So go, okay, look, I can do a little bit of toxin to improve your lines, but you see the little crepey skin is very thin. And depending how bad it is, I either then suggest the radiofrequency with plasma, or just plasma on its own. If it's just a younger patient, it doesn't need so much of the other devices. And that's the introduction, that's the channel. And then through there, we start talking about the skincare, importance of hydration and the skin quality, blah, blah, blah. And then sort of from that moves on into then the full face approach. And I love chemical peelings. So, but yeah, there is always a limit and the time of the year for standard. Most of the chemical peelings, maybe 1 or 2 which you don't, but majority. So then we're going to move in all of that. And for the younger patients, they more come for microneedling or they come for IPL. And of course, then it's more like the complementary thing. And the third group would be our acne or skin problems patients. And in that case, that is the first treatment. That's it. You're doing just plasma shower, skincare. This is it. You know, if you're young, it's no point to do anything more to your skin, but we need to come how aggravated it is, how upset it is. And in some of them, we do combine it with some chemical peelings, just to obviously help the epidermis to rebalance, etc. But really, the first one is kill bacteria, calm it down, because you know how painful a spot can be. So if you go a full face full of spots, and I don't know you guys, but over the pandemic with the masks, a lot of people have really struggled on all that lower face with the heat, working all day with masks, and we have even older patients struggling with their skin, and that's been really good because plasma, they give you a very quick calming treatment, so they feel good when they leave the clinic. You give them something quite instant, even if it's not cured totally the problem, it's calming the skin.
That's interesting. So you've got really a wide range of patients then, in terms of from an acne or problematic skin type. That's obviously, it's not just the standard age group that we would normally think of in that genre. It's actually a much wider group of people that you've got to treat.
Absolutely, that's what I mean. It's got so many different opportunities out there. Whoever's interested, please look at the, all the different technology and what it can do, because as I say, it's a whole range of options out there.
And I suppose with your average anti-aging patient, the patient is still, the skin is still aging. Even if we're doing products to, we can't say palace, we can say relax the lines and wrinkles and work on sort of filling gaps, but actually the skin is still aging around it. So this is a great way to improve that in terms of the hydration.
It's sort of lovely, like, when you get that very thin skin and it's dehydrated. If you do that, of course, you get that immediate plumping in the sense of healthy, like looks something like it's fill up. And of course, then it gives you a very good feel good factor, because your toxin, the newer toxins, which guys keep on track, that 2 new toxins coming at the moment, they're a little bit quicker on set of actions, but it's still, you don't have that Y factor that quickly. So, and of course, fillers, we all know that there is a limitation. You may not improve so well the skin quality. So you may work on shaping, contouring, a bit of lifting effect, but that superficial skin is tough. And not everyone got time to have downtime. Not everyone can have a CO2 laser or a massive phenol peel where you're going to be hiding for weeks. Sometimes people want to go more slow, more organically, because they got busy lives and they got busy jobs and they're all on computers or meetings and they need to look good at all times. So this is a great opportunity to get them in more gently.
Perfect.
Okay, we actually got a few questions in our panel now. I could fire away on a few of these. I had a question from Tracy who wanted to know can I do a medical grade peel and then follow with a Plason immediately?
Absolutely. So we use it a lot, obviously, with the deeper peelings, because obviously the skin gets very sore and uncomfortable, so you can hydrate. But I will say that you better doing it on day 2 or 3. So you do your peeling, send them home, because as you know, the first day or 2, they get just tight and a little bit uncomfortable, but no, it's not really peeling. And when you start the peeling process, you can then start using, because you're rehydrating the skin, and then you shorten the peeling process, but also you're going to get better luminosity and hydration of the skin, so you get quicker results and turnout. So it's very good with TCAs. We use it a lot, actually. I don't know, for some of you, they don't know. It's a brand. It's like a TCA combined with hydroxy peroxide in a low molecular way, so suitable all year round for all skin types, but it's not caustic. So when it's applied on the skin, doesn't burn superficially. That's very good with plasma, because you're not burning the surface, so you don't get the pain. So what you're doing is re-stimulating and plumping and everything, so you get no peeling whatsoever, but it's the TCA 33%, so it works really, really well.
Wonderful. Also, can you give a detailed description on how this works on melasma, as well as for pigmentation?
I think melasma is the difficult one, because we all know that it's a chronic disease and it's not really a cure. What you can do is control it. I developed melasma when I was pregnant with my daughter, And honestly, it was horrendous. I was really upset because it looks like I have a mustache on every photograph. It was horrendous. And I have the whole band and the whole band. I probably still got it, but it's hidden down there somewhere, and it's not been a problem for years. So for normal pigmentation and dark circles, it's so much better. But you can still work on melasma patients as soon as you're not promising you're curing it, because you can't. So we put them in a good skin regime, so a good SPF, obviously some sort of antioxidant serum in the morning, which you could, some brands out there, so just to obviously improve skin quality. And by all means, you could have some alpha and beta ascorbic acids, you can have some retinoids or whatever for the nighttime, encapsulated, of course, because you have to be careful with the sun. And of course, the pigmentation products, whichever brand you like. And then what we do is the in-house treatments. Sometimes we do peelings combined with plasma. But if it's only dark circles, just plasma, because that works really well because it's such a thin skin and it penetrates very well. But when you go severe melasma or severe pigmentation, it's probably better to combine peelings with the plasma, because you get, honestly, in a great result. It just really just fades, and with the skincare, you can maintain it. And then I tell them, look, if you go in the sun too much in the summer, you've been yachting or scuba diving or sailing, and suddenly you've been too much outdoors, you may want to come in September and do a couple of treatments and get things back to control. But over the years, you find that they need less and less, and you control it very well.
Well, speaking of the sunscreen, do you have a special sunscreen that you use after the treatment?
I think an SPF 50 is a must. I'm not sure we're allowed to talk about brands because there's so many, and we do work for about 3 different brands, and it depends if you got oily skin, no oily skin. One of my favorites, am I allowed to say brands? I don't know if that's we're allowed. But anyway, it's a compact thing. It's actually Canadian, so I'm not going to say anymore. And it comes in a little compact. It's an SPF 50, and you put it on, and it feels like you're putting a makeup, but actually it's not a makeup. It's just an SPF 50. And if you don't want to look cool by the pool, like you have a makeup but you actually protect it, that's amazing. That's a really good one. But
and Beatriz, just on that question, how long after would it be okay to apply that after a Plason treatment? Because obviously we know you're not allowed to apply anything directly after the treatment. So would there be a period of time that you would recommend that they would have to wait before applying anything like that?
I think if you use, I like to use the mineral SPFs straight after treatment, and that's fine. You can do that. What we tell people is to be careful with some of the other type of makeups or things where they go maybe possibly parabens or perfumes or anything like that, because penetration can be a problem. So we do apply a mineral SPF straight after the serums to all our patients, and they can go home with mineral SPF. It's fine, and you can go. And to be honest, it's not contradictory to go in the sun. I always say to people, please don't go and cook yourself in the sun, because we're doing treatments to try to get your skin healthy. But of course, we all know that we'll go walking and forget and go to the park and sit on the bench, and but SPF 50 mineral SPF 50 is absolutely fine. And that's why I was talking about that one, because it's really good after.
Thank you.
Great. And they're still coming if you're ready. Do you use the Plason on the body much? And if so, what for?
So, the little bit of the arms here, when we start getting a little bit saggy, above the knees, the little wrinkles above the knees, that's quite good. But we tend to combine it with either ultrasound or radio frequency. And recently, we're actually doing a combination with things. So we do some things like injectables, like maybe, again, I'm not sure if we're talking about brands, but as it's the only one and it's not competitor because it's so different, Profilo. So we tend to do Profilo injections, and you get a little bump, so it's a little bit raised. So then you use the plasma shower on top, and then we apply come with the Profilo body now comes with a mask and a cream you can apply, and then we can apply that after, because it's pure HA with nothing else. Oh my God, it's so good. It's so amazing. Really nice. Yeah. And of course, it drops the swelling and the bits of the bumps.
Great. Do you do this as a solo treatment or build a signature facial around it?
You can do, as I said earlier, the very light type of chemical peelings, or like a facial type, like for example, we all know brands like SkinCeuticals, they give you alternatives to a peeling where it's like vitamin C facials and all that type of thing. Alumiere, that's sort of all the different, there's a lot of brands out there giving you some, of course you can combine it. So the idea is really, first, or Hydrafacial, we said earlier, strip the face off, take the dead cells, clean it, then rehydrate. So it's like a step 2 of the treatment. We got a similar machine as well to Hydrafacial, which we use only the step 1 to strip. So it's like taking the layers off, which is like a mini peel. Then we do the plasma after. So we do it's like a facial, and that's the one for weddings, events, weekends, when your husband come to town after a long week business away and you want to make sure he doesn't leave again, you know, that type of thing.
So we have someone that's really interested in more details on how you take care of those wrinkles above the knees, elbows, and arms. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
So as I said, you have different options. So we got radio frequency technology with plasma. You can use ultrasound. So we've got like obviously ultrasound machine. So it's like HIFU type of thing. But we use the heads, as you know, with ultrasound, you got different type of heads for different depths. So we use a superficial head, which is for superficial skin quality, and you get collagen production. So then we combine that with the plasma. If you think most of the energy devices are going to activate some form of collagen, ultrasound is the gold standard because it's going to give you most of the different types of collagen production. Radio frequency is not as good, but some people don't tolerate ultrasound because of the discomfort. So that's a really good alternative. The disadvantage, you need more than one treatment, but that's not a problem. You get there, you get a little bit slower. And that's a great one then to combine, because all these devices don't give you any hydration. They don't give you that. So if you think, and also sometimes they can upset the skin. So you get raised or swelling or bruising, depending on the treatments you do. So this is a great treatment, not to only calm the skin, accelerate healing, recovery time, but also rehydrate the skin, as I said earlier. And then also use another vitamins or supplementations or cocktails. You go for, like we said earlier, pigmentation. I mean, there's a lot of brands that do these peptides for skin tightening and things like that. And this is really working very well in combination. So you get like a really good facial treatment, shall we say. So in the body applies the same way, but you're going to need extra force. So either radio frequency, HIFU, and of course, as I said earlier, Profiler body, which is amazing for technology to help that. But because of the downtime, then you can add it on, and then it's a complementary treatment. And obviously, Profiler, you do a course of 2, and then you're not going to do it for another 3 or 4 months. So in the middle, what you do is see them monthly and come in and do. Another one is good is Vela Shape. I don't know if some of you, I know now it's going to be out of fashion because the companies decided to remove that beautiful machine. Come on, I don't know, that's really a big mistake, but anyway. So say you do radio frequency for skin tightening, then after you apply the hydration, when they come back for the next treatment, the skin quality is better. So you get better results on the tightening of the skin. So it really is combining hydration and tightening. That's the idea. To get quicker,
Wonderful.
much faster there, I mean, less sessions.
Thank you very much. Kelly, we have about 5 minutes left. Do you have any other questions on your end?
I think I've covered most of my questions. I mean, you were talking a bit about Profilo, Beatrice. Obviously, Profilo for the body. Has there been any work done for Profilo and using plasma shower on the face? Is that something that you would look at, or for the neck area, or is it just on the body?
Yeah, absolutely. For face all the time. Because obviously, as I said, they complement each other. It's only because someone asked a question about what do you do in the body, and obviously that's a much newer way to treat the body. We never used to have Profilo body. It only was launched last year. I think this year is going to be a much bigger impact because with COVID didn't really come out that much. But no, for face, of course, yeah, amazing. Because Profilo hydrates three-dimensionally and repairs the tissue, and obviously we know it works on the adipocytes, but that superficial bit is not quite there. So then you give them that, you get that really quite quick glow. And then what I do is I bring for the plasma every 2 weeks, because then, and I spread the Profilo 4 to 6 weeks. So in the middle, they're having just plasma. And honestly, the results are much faster and you get there a lot quicker rather than having to have the waiting time for 3 or 4 months to get there.
Perfect. So you think, obviously not looking at anything that has any cross-linking, but obviously with Profilo, it's just the different molecular weights that you're focusing on. So you'd stay away from using anything with that's got any cross-linking or anything in there.
I think that I don't have enough experience to try cross-linking products through transdermal delivery. And I think it could be difficult because the idea of a cross-linking HA is that you deliver it intradermally to get there because it can't go through the skin. And obviously, I know Profilo is not cross-linked. It's a total different way because it's stabilized by heating process. But definitely with non-cross-link products, is honestly really amazing. And as I said, forget mesotherapy, forget injecting 100 needles in the face, just a lovely relaxing treatment and you get the same results.
Perfect. Thank you very much. That's all my questions, Jacqueline.
Okay, I have just a couple more and then we'll close down on this. Basically, it comes down to charging. Do you charge separately for face and neck? Is that one treatment? And do you charge the same for the body versus the face?
So we tend to charge, obviously we got specific prices for the periauricular and perioral because it's so popular. And then later we got the full face. So if you think a face, 2 hands, if it's the neck, it's the same cost. But sometimes if they combine face and neck together, we do a little discount. And then the chest, again, 2 hands. So it's sort of the same individually. But when you combine, we just give them a little incentive to do all in one session. So they have a little bit of a freebie, they think. It takes slightly shorter because if you think your consultation, your before and after pictures, signing consent forms and everything takes time and you kind of just rush them off the room. When you're in the treatment, it's quite quick to do. So really it's about maybe calculate how much it costs you in time because you got electricity to pay, products to pay, staff to pay, and then calculate depending on which country you are, which obviously is worth it. But I would say the cost of the treatment itself is so tiny. The cost is nearly nothing. It's just what your staff gets paid to do it and how much running the room on the day is. So that means you got very good profit margin because you got a good result. And as I said, because it's not downtime and it's no risks, you can really sleep at night. So it's one of those you can do in a rush in the last minute on a Friday night before you go out and you're not going to worry it.
Perfect. And do you, on that note, do you then charge per sort of serum, or do you just have a one price and the serums are all included in the price that you
do
offer?
one price, and what we put in mind is we're going to need a couple of serums, and we decide. I mean, there are some serums for relaxing, toxin serums to relax the eye wrinkles. So there's a lot of little tricks out there to add on pigmentation or whatever, but we just make it as a price because I think it's important to have an easy way to do it. Some of these treatments may be associated to say to patients, look, you're going to require to take this product home later for maintenance, like particularly if you've got pigmentations. So then we just give them a package. We go, okay, we're going to need 3 or 5 treatments, whatever it is. These are the products to go with this, and then we sell it then as a pack. But as a treatment itself, the one-off, when people want a quick fix, yeah, they're all priced the same, and we just use what is right for the patient, whatever serums are good.
Brilliant, thank you.
All right, well, first let me say, Beatrice, on behalf of Artemis, thank you so much for being a guest for us today. Learned lots of great information from you, and I know we have a lot of very excited salespeople that are going to be using this for their potential partners. And just as a quick reminder on resources, for some of our partners that are out there listening, if you haven't noticed, we do have an article in Cosmopolitan. We have it posted out on My Artemis, as well as some of the other articles that you can see here. They're all available through the portal. And again, My Artemis is your central resource for all things Plason. So, you know, from social media, collateral campaigns, this is where you can find most of your information. And for those that are in the UK, please contact Kelly Tobin, and her email is kelly@artemisdistribution.com if you don't know it already. But if you also need additional information about Plason and you're a current partner, you can look for the Knowledge Center. That's a great place to start through the portal, as well as contacting our customer services team through that email, support@artemisdistribution.com. Well, this concludes our webinar for today. A recording of this webinar will be available tomorrow through my Artemis, and those who have attended will receive it through email, and we'll also post it out on our Facebook group. But if you do need to get in touch with anyone, if you didn't receive any of that, please contact our support team, or if you're in the UK, please contact Kelly. Again, thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Dr. Beatrice, for being on this webinar. And that concludes our webinar for today. Have a great day.
Thanks very much. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.